The Precinct. Let's kick things off with an open-world action-adventure. This game takes inspiration from classic 80s cop movies and early GTA titles, but here's the twist: you play as a police officer, not a criminal. It's set in the gritty, neon-soaked fictional city of Auvergne in 1983. You step into the shoes of Nick Cordell Jr., a rookie cop patrolling the streets, fighting crime, while secretly investigating his father's murder, a former officer himself. Gameplay blends police simulation with top-down action sandbox mechanics, reminiscent of those old-school GTA classics. Start your shift, choose between foot patrol, a squad car, or even a helicopter. Your core job: respond to procedurally generated radio calls. These range from minor offenses like illegal parking or vandalism to major crimes, bank heists, gang shootouts, or high-speed chases. Freedom is key. You decide which calls to answer and which to ignore, but skipping critical incidents might hurt your overall progress. Beyond the main story, dive into side activities, recover stolen artifacts, join street races, perform car stunts, and more. The game balances linear story missions with free-roaming patrols, creating that authentic day-in-the-life cop feel. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, another open-world role-playing game continuing the story from the first installment. We're plunged into 15th-century Bohemia, steeped in historical authenticity and raw medieval life. The year is 1403, amid a civil war. You play as Henry of Skalitz, the blacksmith's son turned squire, seeking vengeance for his parents' murder while getting entangled in a fight for the throne. It's a first-person action RPG. Tackle quests from delivering messages to fighting in massive battles, with total freedom. Choose combat, diplomacy, or stealth. Expect investigations, negotiations, and clashes with bandits. Along the way, develop skills like swordsmanship or speechcraft, which deeply impact gameplay. Side activities: hunting, crafting, forging weapons, tournaments, and pure exploration. The world itself is captivating: rural landscapes, castles, forests, and the city of Kutna Ora. Every location is richly detailed, from bustling streets to abandoned villages. Non-player characters follow daily routines, react to your choices, and guards will chase you with clubs if you break the law. Pure medieval immersion. Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. Finally, Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon, an open-world action RPG inspired by a dark reimagining of Arthurian legends. You find yourself on the Isle of Avalon 600 years after King Arthur's fall, in a world ravaged by the Red Death Plague and the Wyrd, a sinister force warping reality at night. Play as a prisoner, yes, reminiscent of Oblivion, linked to Arthur's soul, questing to gather fragments of his spirit, resurrect the king, and save a dying world. It blends RPG systems with first-person action, though third-person view is possible. Devs discourage it, and honestly, I'd only use it for screenshots. Start in a prison cell, pick starting skills, escape, and explore Avalon. Total freedom reigns: fight with swords, shoot bows, cast spells, or sneak in shadows for stealth takedowns. Combat style is yours to choose. Face hordes of monsters, bandits, and bosses. Hundreds of side quests await too: help villagers, uncover conspiracies. Develop your character, craft gear, practice alchemy, or just fish when combat fatigue hits. Beyond story quests, simpler activities exist like cooking or sketching in a journal. The world spans 3 zones, so far: the foggy southern horns, the sunlit village of Quanacht, and the snowy mountains of Swords. Locations drip with detail, from grim dungeons with skeletal remains to mist-shrouded valleys. Non-player characters live full lives, trading, constantly needing aid. Nearly all matter. But the juiciest part? Exploration. The game begs you to uncover hidden stashes, unmarked quests, and lore revealing Avalon's grim fate piece by piece. A true dark fantasy realm. Atomfall. Let's talk about Atomfall, a hidden gem many overlooked. It wowed everyone with its visuals at first glance, then kind of faded from memory. This is another open-world action RPG, inspired by the real-life nuclear incident in Windscale. Set in an alternate history 1957 Britain, we find ourselves in a quarantine zone in northern England. Beneath its lush green hills and quaint villages lie dark secrets. You play as an amnesiac hero who wakes up with no memory, fighting to escape while uncovering what truly happened after the disaster. Gameplay blends survival mechanics with first-person action. Explore the zone, scavenge resources like scrap metal or plain food to craft weapons and gear. Total freedom, sneak past threats, engage in open combat with bandits or robots, or even negotiate your way through. Expect investigations where you piece together clues to advance the story, plus side quests like aiding survivors or solving local puzzles. Character progression is key. There's also light activities like treasure hunting with a metal detector and selling your finds. The world features interconnected zones, abandoned farms, bunkers, and eerie cult ruins. Locations charm with their contrast, rustic village pubs, overgrown country roads, grim underground tunnels, creating a uniquely compelling atmosphere that hooked players at first sight. Dune Awakening. Now, Dune Awakening. Yes, it launched yesterday. If you grabbed the deluxe edition, the global release is June 10th. Given its extensive playtests, it absolutely deserves a spot here. It's genuinely solid. This is a survival-focused open-world MMO set in the iconic Dune universe. You play as a Bene Gesserit agent surviving the desert, searching for missing Freemen, and unraveling secrets in the war between House Atreides and House Harkonnen. Gameplay merges survival mechanics with RPG elements in a vast multiplayer world. Start as a shipwreck survivor, scrounging resources like water and spice to stay alive. Activities abound: battle raiders, craft ornithopters, or trade goods in Arrakis hubs. You'll harvest spice, defend harvesters, and fight in massive battles, from infantry skirmishes to vehicle combat. Develop your character's skills, build and fortify your base to shelter from Coriolis storms. These sand bullet storms are brutal, leave vehicles outside unprotected, and they'll get wrecked. Beyond storms, watch for sandworms, and other players who might raid you. The world. The endless deserts of Arrakis, stretching from the lush Haga Basin oasis to the treacherous sands of the deep desert. Locations are stunning, with dynamic sandstorms that literally reshape the landscape. Pure desert survival. Monster Hunter Wilds. Finally, Monster Hunter Wilds, unmissable for this list. It's the first truly open-world action RPG in the series, ditching segmented mission maps for seamless zones. We dive into the wild ecosystem of the Windy Plains, where harsh deserts and vibrant oases team with colossal monsters. Play as a hunter tracking these beasts for resources, defending your guild outpost, and uncovering the region's ecological mysteries. The hunting. Legendary. Monsters are wildly diverse and hit as hard as Elden Ring bosses. Taking one down can take serious time. Thankfully, it's co-op focused. Hunt these giants with friends, randoms, or solo if you dare, though squads are recommended. While tracking, gather resources, craft gear from fallen monsters, and soak in the gorgeous visuals, a massive upgrade from World. Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is Assassin's Creed, right? An open-world action-adventure set in 15th century Japan during the Sengoku period. We play as two protagonists simultaneously, Neo, a stealth-focused ninja who's quite a compelling character, and Yasuke, or Yasuke, if you prefer, an African-inspired samurai who served Oda Nobunaga. Expect classic stealth mechanics where enemies literally can't spot you in tall grass, plus the ability to switch to Yasuke for head-on combat and brutal melee fights. Exploration feels genuinely rewarding: parkour across rooftops using a grappling hook, climb virtually any surface, and navigate dense urban environments. Overall, it's solid. I actually enjoyed it more than Valhalla, though it doesn't quite reach Odyssey's heights for me. The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. The fourth Elder Scrolls absolutely belongs in this lineup. It was legendary at launch years ago and remains a top-tier classic today, especially with modern graphical mods. We dive into Tamriel, where demonic Oblivion gates threaten all life and the Imperial throne sits empty. You play as a nameless prisoner who gains freedom and embarks on a quest to find the missing heir, uncovering the mythic Dawn cult's conspiracy along the way. The game delivers guild quests, battles against Daedra, and exploration of ancient ruins. Naturally, you'll develop your character too, leveling skills like alchemy, melee combat, or speechcraft. Beyond the main story, there's a ton of side content that'll have you trekking endlessly, but enjoyably, between the white gold tower of the Imperial City and the forests of the Great Oak. The locations here remain exceptional. Game of Thrones, Kingsroad. The new Game of Thrones game also features iconic locations, assuming you've watched the show and recognize places like King's Landing or the Wall. We're fully immersed in Westeros, where the War of the Five Kings rages and ancient threats beyond the Wall begin to stir. You play as a wandering mercenary starting on the Kingsroad, getting pulled into the schemes of great houses while uncovering your own mysterious past. It's an action RPG with third-person combat. Create your character, choose their background, and take on contracts ranging from caravan escort missions to spying for lords. Total freedom reigns, pledge loyalty to factions, knowing your choices affect how others treat you. Visually, it holds up well. I even got some Black Desert vibes occasionally. The only caveat? It's free to play, so expect occasional monetization prompts. JDM, Japanese Drift Master. Okay, let's talk about JDM, Japanese Drift Master. This is an open-world racing game all about Japanese car culture and drifting. You're playing in a fictional place called Guntama Prefecture, inspired by Japan's Honshu region. There are 250 kilometers of roads to drive, mountain passes, city streets, rural routes. It feels truly Japanese. The atmosphere is boosted by dynamic weather, a day and night cycle, and traffic filled with non-player characters. And yeah, there's actually a story here. You play as Toma, a Polish racer who, after a personal tragedy and losing his racing license, moves to Japan aiming to become a star in the local drift scene. The story's told through manga-style cutscenes, which look pretty stylish. Gameplay is heavily focused on drifting. You earn points for style and precision in your slides, competing in drift battles, grip races, drag races, and time attacks. I won't go into detail on every single event type. The key thing is the developers have probably made one of the most responsive drift games out there right now. It's genuinely good. Avowed. Gotta say a few words about Avowed too. This is a first-person role-playing game from Obsidian Entertainment. It doesn't have a fully seamless open world. Instead, it's made up of larger zones connected by fast travel. Each zone is like its own playground, packed with caves, puzzles, and secrets that really encourage exploration. Visually, the world is bright and diverse, ranging from lush forests to desert wastelands. The environment design deserves praise for its detail and atmosphere, although the lack of a day and night cycle is definitely a strange choice. Heck, even that racing game I just mentioned has it, but not this one. You play as an envoy of the Empire of Eder, a godlike being with unique magical traits, like these fungal growths, who doesn't know which god chose them. Your main quest is to investigate the Dream Scourge, a mysterious plague causing madness and covering bodies in strange fungi. The story is very choice-driven. Your decisions genuinely impact the fate of factions, your companions, and even whole regions. But honestly, the real star here might be the gameplay. It's real-time combat with tons of weapons, magic, and you can dual wield. It's done really well. Aloft. And this one is Aloft. It's a cozy open-world survival and crafting game. You're in this vibrant world of floating islands surrounded by a perpetual storm. The game offers a relaxed, low-pressure experience, mixing exploration, building, and cooperative gameplay for up to 8 players. The world is an archipelago of sky islands, shaped by the winds and afflicted by a fungal corruption. Yeah, mushrooms again here too. You explore the islands, restore ecosystems, and uncover secrets of a lost civilization. But the key mechanic? You can literally turn any island into a sky ship, a mobile base with sails and a steering wheel. This lets you sail through the skies, making your base part of the adventure itself. There isn't a massive amount of content yet, only 3 biomes currently, but what's there is pretty cool. It does feel like it falls a bit short compared to something like Valheim, though. Survive the Fall. Alright, switching gears to isometric for a bit. This is Survive the Fall, an isometric action RPG mixing survival and base building. You manage a group of survivors in a post-apocalyptic world, exploring the lands, fighting enemies, and trying to rebuild society. The setting is a world devastated by a meteor strike that caused climate disasters and a mysterious fungal infection called the stasis. This infection twists the landscape and mutates wildlife. Humanity is on the brink, but improving conditions offer a chance to explore and resettle. Gameplay splits into 2 cycles: exploration, controlling a squad of up to 3 survivors in an isometric view, and base management, building and running your settlement. It blends survival, tactical RPG, and base building with a strong atmosphere and thoughtful mechanics. That said, the game still feels rough around the edges due to bugs, a weak story, and repetitive combat. Age of Reforging, The Freelands. Age of Reforging? It's less a single game and more like a whole genre collection. This is a medieval fantasy computer role-playing game with an open world, sandbox elements, strategy, and even survival mechanics. You find yourself in the Freelands, a harsh world of thieves, adventurers, and opportunists where wealth and glory come at others' expense. You play as a Reforged One, basically a chosen local tasked with exploring the world, gathering a party, and influencing the fate of these lands. The main plot involves fighting against the tyranny of the royal authority. But the game truly emphasizes freedom. You can follow quests, or you can ignore them and do your own thing. The world itself is quite large, featuring 8 distinct biomes, 9 cities, and around 30 diverse micro-dungeons. You choose where to go, what to do, how to develop your character, and how to earn your way. The game spent a long time in early access, but it's finally had its full release now, and the reviews are actually pretty positive. Forever Skies. Forever Skies is a bit more straightforward. It's a straight-up survival game from Polish developers, set on a post-apocalyptic Earth devastated by an ecological catastrophe. You survive aboard orbital stations. Well, actually, you are a scientist who decides to descend from orbit down to the surface to see what's left. Your goals are to find a cure for a mysterious Grey Plague and survive, all while piloting a high-tech airship that serves as your mobile base. You start by exploring above the dust, the world above a toxic dust layer, visiting derelict towers, abandoned skyscrapers, greenhouses, and wind farms while scavenging for loot. Later, you can venture under the dust into more dangerous zones with far more valuable resources. The game lingered in early access for quite a while, but it finally launched in April, and just before that, it added full cooperative play. Honestly, playing it in co-op mode feels way more enjoyable than going solo. Gedonia 2. Okay, let's talk about Gedonia 2. This is another game simmering in early access. Well, actually, it hasn't been there too long yet, but it probably won't fully launch until 2027 at the earliest. Why? Because it's being made by just one developer, Oleg Kuzakov. It's a cooperative open-world action role-playing game. The story takes place in the fantasy world of Gedonia, specifically its eastern regions, decades after the first game. We get to explore a pretty massive world. You create your character from scratch, and honestly, the mechanics feel like stepping into World of Warcraft. Right now in early access, there are a couple of full zones available, with plans to expand to 6 or 8 zones by the full release. The world includes forests, coastlines, and dungeons packed with enemies, puzzles, and all sorts of treasures. Currently, the game has around 40, maybe 50, different quests, hundreds of items, and a whopping 9 distinct skill trees. So yeah, you can easily sink a couple of dozen hours into it already. Overall, it's quite pleasant. The developer did a great job polishing up the first game, so I'm confident he'll deliver with this sequel too. Lost Skies. Now, Lost Skies. This is another game about the clouds, kind of a spiritual successor to Worlds Adrift, but focused on player versus environment and cooperative play for up to 6 people, not massively multiplayer online. It shares some similarities with that earlier game, Aloft. You also build a sky ship here, but this one is a proper ship, not an island. It's your base and your weapon. The building system lets you customize the hull, place cannons, engines, and decorations, all while considering weight and material quality. If you're playing cooperatively, you can even create a whole fleet of several ships to explore this little world. And speaking of exploration, there's plenty to see. The game world is a vast sky filled with floating islands separated by storm walls. Remnants of humanity survive among the ruins of ancient civilizations destroyed by giant creatures. We uncover the secrets of their downfall using technology based on Atlas, that's like a local mineral with anti-gravity properties. Combat happens both on the ground, where you fight enemies on foot, and in the air during battles with bosses, well, currently just one boss. For downsides. Well, as you probably guessed, being in early access means content is still a bit limited right now, but it's shaping up nicely overall. The Quinfall. Okay, let's talk about the Quinfall. For those unfamiliar, this is a relatively new MMORPG from a small Turkish studio. It's still very much a work in progress, you can play it now, but expect some rough edges. The game claims to be the largest MMORPG ever with a map spanning 2,000 square kilometers. But honestly, its reputation's already taking hits over concerns about asset flipping, technical jank, and some questionable marketing choices. That said, the world itself? Actually impressive. That massive map splits into 5 distinct regions like forests, deserts, and mountains, each with unique vibes. It even adapts to 4 real-world seasons, weather patterns, and day-night cycles that affect gameplay. One catch, it runs on Unity, not Unreal Engine 5. That raises eyebrows about performance issues, especially since Unreal 5 isn't perfect either. Feature-wise, it's got your usual MMO staples, classes, professions, PvP and PvE, a player-driven economy with auctions and markets, guilds, player housing, mounts, the works. Overall, not terrible, but far from groundbreaking. At least the devs are visibly trying to build something. Feels like they've been crowdfunding this for ages, kinda like Ashes of Creation. Survivalist, Invisible Strain. Next up, something more hardcore, Survivalist, Invisible Strain. This is an open-world survival role-playing game with base building and community management. Don't expect eye candy, the graphics are pretty basic. But gameplay? Solid. You're thrown into a post-apocalyptic world 10 years after a zombie outbreak. Settlements are collapsing for unknown reasons, survivors are fleeing to remote areas, and you play as a refugee trying to stay alive while rebuilding society. 2 modes here, Story and Sandbox. Story mode focuses on keeping your community together while uncovering why everything's falling apart. Sandbox mode. Get a green pass to access high-tech bases, or just build the toughest settlement around. Feels like Project Zomboid but with a whole community, not just one character. The map's huge and randomly generated, so exploration stays fresh. Otherwise, standard survival stuff, combat, managing hunger and body temperature, base construction, you know the drill. Honestly, it's pretty decent if you can overlook the visuals. Rise of the Ronin. Wrapping up with Rise of the Ronin. This open-world action role-playing game comes from Team Ninja. It's set in 19th century Japan during the Bakumatsu era, when the shogunate collapsed and Western influence flooded in. You play as a Ronin, a masterless samurai, caught in historical chaos and personal drama. Right at the start, you're hit with tragedy, You control one of the Blade twins, orphans raised by the Veiled Edge clan, to fight the shogunate. After a botched assassination of a key commander, the twins get separated. Your mission: track down your sibling while forging alliances with real historical figures. The world splits into 3 regions: Yokohama, Edo, and Kyoto. Each packs villages, temples, bandit camps, and points of interest. Think classic Ubisoft-style maps but less cluttered. Gameplay's fun overall, just don't expect cutting-edge graphics. Everything else? Perfectly serviceable.